Welcome to our Jaiva Dharma study. So today is Wednesday, 29th of May, 2024. And we'll be continuing with our chapter 19, and probably today we'll complete that. So we'll have a kirtan first. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari O Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Jaya Nityananda Rai Jaya Nityananda Rai Nityananda Rai Jaya Nityananda Rai Jaya Nityananda Rai Jaya Nityananda Rai Nityananda Rai Jaya Nityananda Rai Jaya Sachinandan Jaya Gauda Hari Sachinandan Jaya Gauda Hari Jaya Sachinandan Jaya Gauda Hari Sachinandan Jaya Gauda Hari Oh Jaya Radha Madana Mohan Radha Madana Mohan Radhe Jaya Radha Madana Mohan Radha Madana Mohan Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Oh Radhe 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 Jai Shri Shri Guru Garanga Ganhavi Giridhari Radha Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai Brisha Balu Nandini Vajeshwari Radharani Ki Jai Nityananda Rai Ki Jai Sachinandana Gauda Hari Ki Jai Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Surabhi Kunj Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotar Shishimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotar Shishimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotar Shishimad Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Jagat Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotar Shishimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat Srila Gaurikishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Saptam Goswami Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Jai Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Srila Baladevi Dibhushan Gaudi Vedantaracharya Ki Jai Jai Rasik Siromani Srila Vishnath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai Jai Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Treya Ki Jai Jai Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Shri Bhata Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bharatasa Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu's Ki Jai Jai Swarup Damodar Rai Ramananda Gauda Parsada Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haras Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sikha Hol Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Shri Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Antadvip Mayapur Simantadvip Gaudramdvip Madhyadvip Koladvip Ritudvip Janadvip Motamdvip Rudradvip Atmadka Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dwadasa Varmadvika Shri Braja Mandal Ki Jai Shri Radha Kund Shama Kund Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Shrimati Brinda Devi Maharani Ki Jai Shrimati Yogamaya Purnamasi Devi Maharani Ki Jai Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Ki Jai Ketra Mandal Ki Jai Sarva Vigna Vinasakari Shina Shingadev Bhagavan Ki Jai Bhakta Prabha Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai Charidam Ki Jai Chari Sampradaya Ki Jai Chari Acharya Ki Jai Akara Matraj Shri Chaitanya Mat Ki Jai Shri Keshav Ji Gaudiya Mat Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Samagata Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gauda Premanande Hari Hari Bol Om Aginati Mirandasya Gyanam Jala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmaya Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Anapita Chirim Chirat Karunavartino Kalo Samarpaitam Unnata Ujvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam Hari Purata Sundarata Tikatam Basadipita Sada Hridare Kandare Spudatu Vasachinandanaha Priya Surupe Daita Surupe Prema Surupe Sahajabi Rupe Nijana Rupe Prabhueka Rupe Tatana Rupe Swabila Surupe Yam Pravajantam Manapetyam Apeti Krityam Dvaipaino Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putre Titam Mayatayo Tarabopinidustam Sarvabhutam Hridim Munimanatoshmi Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Shiptasya Karmadi Taranga Madhye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapana Prinde Namaste Charanarabindam Bhajami radham aravinda netram, smarami radham madhurashmitasyam, vadami radham karuna baradram, tato mamanasti katina kapi. Tavaivasmi najivami tvaivina, iti vignaya rate tvam nayamam charanantikam. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarzarashishimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again millions and millions of times unto the lotus feet of our most beloved Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarzarashishimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And again, I'm offering my Dandavat pranams to our dearmost Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidanandanamine Gaura Shakti Swarapaya Rupanuga Vrayate, and all our illustrious Rupanuga Guru Vargya and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Avanchakalpa Tarupyascha Kripa Sindhavyevacha Patitanam Pavnibhyo Vaishnave Namo Namaha. So, coming to our Jaiva Dharma, which we've not studied for 3 days now. It was Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Yesterday we discussed the glories of Ramananda Rai and his relationship with Mahaprabhu and the other pastimes there in connection with Mahaprabhu's desires to taste the glories of Radhika's greatness and to taste the speciality of the Adbhuta Madhurima, the beautiful qualities within himself that only Shri Radhika perceives. And this Sokyam Kasyam Mad Anubhav, the happiness that Shri Radhika feels when she realizes the sweetness of Krishna's love for her. So some of these topics we touched on yesterday, but remembering these great personalities brings all these topics to the forefront. So now, coming to our Falshruti, and we're into the last 4 verses here of the Falshruti on page 831. Jaiva Dhamma Patishe Shura Bhakti Hoy, Jaiva Dhamma Napadile Kabi Bhakti Noy. One who reads Jaiva Dhamma with faithful deliberation will surely attain Shura Bhakti, but one who does not read Jaiva Dhamma can never attain Bhakti. Jaiva Dhamma contains all the Shastra practically in existence. It's referencing all Shastras, referencing here all the 4 Vedas, etc. The Rig Veda, the Artha Veda, Sama Veda, Artha Veda, all the Vedas are mentioned. So what unfortunate soul will not immerse himself in these truths of this Jaiva Dhamma? It's giving us the entirety of the Vedic wisdom and teachings through the consciousness, through the heart of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who, as we know, is Kamala Manjari in our line. So everything is connected through this Jaiva Dhamma to Rag Marg and ultimately Manjari Bhav, which is the gift that Mahaprabhu has come to bestow in this age to the conditioned jivas, which has never been given previously. So this is astonishing. This is a very high elevated platform, or high elevated state of consciousness that was not previously opened up. So we always have to appreciate our immense fortune at being recipients of this philosophy, or this guidance into this realm of bhavolas, this mood of wanting just to serve Sri Radhika. Mahaprabhu came himself to taste Radhika's moods, and he's distributing the mood of Radhika to the conditioned souls to take up this path of Manjari Bhav. So who would not want to read this Jaiva Dhamma? Rupa Noga Abhiman Pate Drita Hoy, Jaiva Dhamma Vimukake Dharma Hine Koi. Faithfully reading Jaiva Dhamma will surely strengthen one's Abhiman as a Rupanuga, a follower of Rupa Goswami. This is just what we were saying. Kamala Manjari is a follower of Rupa Goswami. We are following in the footstep we were reading yesterday from that Rai Ramananda Sambad, conclusively that Ramananda Rai is sharing with Mahaprabhu that only by following in the footsteps of the gopis can this ultimate goal be achieved. This beyond even Shuddha Bhakti. This is Rag Bhakti. So we're discussing this in our chapters. So to have the Abhiman as a Rupanuga, a follower of Sri Rupa Goswami, is essential. One who is averse to reading Jaiva Dharma is certainly devoid of religious principles. So we have the Swarup Lakshan and the Tatashta Lakshan. The Tatashta Lakshan are like the prohibitions, so to speak, and the Swarup Lakshan is the inner goal, the inner truth to be attained. Yava jivane jay pade jaiva dharma bhaktiman se jana brita jnana karma. One who faithfully reads Jaiva Dharma throughout his entire life will be endowed with bhakti and will surely realize the futility of jnana and karma. So this is, in a sense, reiterating the verse which we've discussed in this 19th chapter, Anyavilasata sunyam jnana karmadi anavritam. The futility of gyan and karma. And that gyan, which is to be neglected, this jiva, brahm, aikya gyan, this knowledge of the jiva's impersonal goal, jiva, brahm, aikya gyan. This is to be rejected. But the other two types of knowledge that are there are imperative to absorb. Tat, pradartha gyan, knowledge of Krishna, and tvam padartha gyan, understanding the distinction between Ishvara and the Jiva. The Jiva is anuchit, Krishna is vibhuchit, punachit, complete. We've said so many, every day practically we're saying the same thing, because this is like the very heart of the conclusion that the conditioned Jiva, which has become intoxicated with the material energy, trying to enjoy that material energy. And the antithesis of that, the opposite of that, is to be submissive to that personality from where that material energy has manifested, which is the Supreme. Supreme, of course, is not controlled by the material energy. He controls the material energy. This is the distinction between Jiva and Ishvara. So we've discussed this extensively in the 18th chapter. All of these truths we can draw on our understanding of these previous chapters that we've read. And this is how we're beginning to realize and recognize what a gift this Jaiva Dharma is, because it's giving all the tattvas and siddhantas that are needed to continue healthily on this path without any deviation. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is so merciful here. Everything is here. So as we read, these truths of the chapters we've already absorbed will just flow back towards us. Krishnera Ramala Seva Labi Senara Seva Sukhe Magnaraha Sada Krishna Para. Such a man, being fully devoted to Sri Sri Radha Krishna Yugal Kishore, and having attained their Amal Prem Seva, remains forever merged in the bliss of such immaculate loving service. This will be mostly opened out in the final 14 chapters, when Brajanath and Vijay Kumar, they move to Puri, and in Puri they're hearing from Gopal Guru Goswami, and he's diving into the ocean of Rasa Tattva. And in this ocean we start to appreciate the activities of the spirit soul in service to that transcendental couple, specifically to Sri Radhika. So all of this is in the last chapters, but this is the prayojan, this final verse of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Falshruti. So now we'll come to our chapter 19, and we'll just move back a little bit to page 446. So we've actually already read through here But because we haven't touched this for 3 days, we can just read this again. We've almost finished this chapter, so we can just refresh something of what we've read. We understand the construction of this chapter, basically. It's showing us the Abhidheya. There are 3 chapters on the Abhidheya. This chapter 19, then the next chapter 20 and 21. They're all 3 Abhidheya chapters. This chapter is basically laying the foundation of what is Shuddha Bhakti. In principle, what is Shuddha Bhakti? It's not specifically delineating between Raganuga and Vaidhi, although its focus is on Vaidhi, but that's not the, it hasn't been specific. It's mentioned Raganuga Bhakti also, but this is basically putting the platform down of what is Bhakti. And then the next chapter will be describing Vaidhi Bhakti exclusively, and then the following chapter will be describing what is Raganuga Bhakti. And then the next chapter will be what is Bhav Bhakti. So this is the sequence that Bhaktivinoda Thakur is walking us through here. So we'll start on page 446, and we're opening out the beautiful verse of Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. So now he's discussing the 4th anga of Bhakti is performing service, Pada Seva, or Paricharya. Pada Seva must also be performed together with Shravan, Kirtan and Smaranam. One should perform Pada Seva with a humble attitude, understanding that one is unqualified for the service. Always be feeling that. And then qualification can be bestowed upon one. If one is feeling proud that he's qualified for such a service, then how can the speciality of Krishna's mercy come through? Always the thread of Trinada peace has to be there for the process to continue. Always. And we always remind ourselves, who is the most humble personality in all existence? It's Sri Radhika, who holds the most immense potency to even control the mad elephant of Krishna. And she is the most humble. So this quality we must constantly be refreshing in our own activities and consciousnesses. One should perform Pada Seva in a humble attitude, understanding that one is unqualified for the service. It is also essential to realize the object of service as Sat Chit Ananda. This means not Arop Siddha Bhakti or Sangha Siddha Bhakti. These are distracting focuses. They're not pure. It's not Uttam Bhakti or Swarup Siddha Bhakti. Swarup Siddha Bhakti is purely focusing on pleasing the Supreme Lord. That is what Swarup Siddha Bhakti or Uttam Bhakti is proclaiming. Pada Seva, it is also essential to realize the object of service is Satchidananda, the embodiment of eternity, knowledge and bliss. Pada Seva includes seeing the face of Sri Krishna's deity form, touching him, circumambulating him, following him and visiting holy places such as Sri Bhagavan's temple, the Ganga, Jagannath Puri, Dwarka, Mathura, Navadvip and so forth. Srila Rupa Goswami has presented these in a very clear and vivid way in his description of the 64 angas of bhakti. We'll discuss this in the next chapter. Service to Sri Tulsi and Shuddha Bhaktas is also included within this anga. So appreciate the meaning of Pada Sevana. All of these meanings that we've just gone through, going to the temples, going to the holy dhams, and service to Shuddha Bhaktas. Service to Shuddha Bhaktas is within all the angas. Within all the angas, this service to Krishna's devotees must be there. The 5th anga of worship, Archan, is Archan. There are many considerations regarding qualification and methods of worship. If one is attracted to the path of Archan, even after being engaged in Shravanam, Kirtanam and Smaranam, then one should perform Archan after properly accepting Diksha mantras from Sri Gurudev. These Diksha mantras are most important because Archan includes many mantras that we have to chant. So if these mantras are not initially coming from Gurudev through the um, Guru mantra, the Guru Gayatri, the Gora mantra, the Gora Gayatri, the Gopal mantra, and the Kam Bij mantra. If they're not coming through these Diksha mantras, then the other mantras are not going to have so much potency. Rajanath, what is the difference between Nam and mantra? So we chant Hare Krishna and we have Diksha mantras. So what is the distinction between these two? Babaji, Sri Hari's name is the life and soul of mantra. That's saying that they're both the same, in other words. Sri Hari's name is the life and soul of mantra. In other words, actually, Sri Hari's name is more powerful than mantra. Sri Hari's name is the life and soul of mantra. So I'm understanding this to indicate that Sri Hari's name is more potent than mantra. My Gurudev would often say like this, that Harinam is more important than Diksha mantras. Diksha mantras are very, very important. But if we want to make a comparison, the Diksha mantras don't cross over the Viraja river. They don't go into the transcendental world. Harinam does. Harinam crosses over that boundary, that borderline. So ultimately, Harinam is more potent than the Diksha mantras. But in order to perfect our Harinam, because Diksha mantras are connecting with Guru, many times people would comment to Gurudev, my Gurudev, oh, we don't get to associate with you sufficiently. We never have enough time with you. And my Gurudev would look at them sort of quizzically and say, don't you chant your Guru mantras? In other words, when you chant your Guru mantras, then Guru is completely present there with you. So this is how important it is to chant the mantras. Yet at the same time, Nam is prominent. The rishis have added words such as Namaha, obeisances, to Sri Harinam and disclosed its specific power. So this is described in a footnote in the end here. This, just before this fourth footnote, which is, this is a reference to Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila 772. We can see that afterwards. Sri Harinam by nature has nothing to do with this material world. Interesting. Nothing to do with this material world. Whereas the Jiva, because of various bodily designations provided by Maya, is entrapped by objects consisting of dead matter. What a beautiful sentence. Consequently, in order to detach the Jiva's mind from sense objects, different principles of archan have been established on the path of regulated devotional service, Maryad Marg. For example, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, when he was introducing deity worship, initially, back in the very early 70s, or even earlier than that, he was informing the devotees, this will train you in punctuality. This will train you in cleanliness. These were essential qualities that were needed to move forward. So this archan, it trains us to, in the Maryad Marg, the path of correct etiquette, the correct way to interact between Krishna and in our prayers, etc. Krishna will listen to ancient mantras, but if we're just praying, asking for or praying for different objects in this world or something of that nature, if it's not held with a mantra, it's not going to have so much potency. My Gurudev used to describe all the time, especially when we're offering our bhoga. If this bhoga is performed properly with mantra, then it's going to have potency. And then we're going to get pure prasadam as a result of that, returned from Krishna. If it's not going through the proper process, then it won't be the purest form of prasadam. We can't be sentimental about this. The rishis have given us these mantras to discipline ourselves, to discipline our mind. It's just been saying here that the jivas are entrapped by objects consisting of dead matter. We're entrapped. So how to be released from that entrapment is by chanting these mantras. They will assist us. The Mahamantra will take us the furthest, but still these Diksha mantras are going to be tremendously supportive because they connect in Sambandha with Guru and Mahaprabhu and Krishna. Consequently, in order to detach the jiva's mind from sense objects, different principles of archan have been established on the path of regulated devotional service, Maryad Marg. It is essential for materialistic people to accept Diksha. It's essential. When one chants the Krishna mantra, Siddha, Sadhya, Susiddha, Adi are not considered. So there's a footnote here, and it's basically saying that these 4 defects are about the jiva are not considered. So they're not so important to actually understand. But my Gurudev references them in a footnote at the end of this chapter. Initiation into the exclusive chanting of the Krishna mantra is extremely beneficial for the jiva. For of all the different mantras in the world, the Krishna mantra is the most powerful. A bona fide disciple receives strength from Krishna immediately when a bona fide spiritual master initiates him into this mantra. After initiation, Gurudev educates the inquiring disciple concerning the performance of archan. Now he's cleaning the disciple up from the contamination of this material world where we've just come out of. Briefly, Archan Marg includes the observance of Sri Krishna's appearance day, fasting in Kartik month, observing Ekadashi, taking bath in the month of Marg, and other such activities. One should also understand that one must certainly worship Krishna's bhaktas as well as Krishna himself on the path of Archan. This is saying the same as it said in Padasevana. One must worship Krishna's devotees simultaneously as perform this archan. It can't be neglected without that. We know the description, the famous description of a kanishta. He's offering his puja and some bhaktas arrive and he neglects the bhaktas and keeps doing the puja thinking this is more important. This is a symptom of a kanishta. He should put the item he's offering down and attend to service to the Vaishnavas first. So this is what we have heard for so many years. The 6th anga of Vaidhi Bhakti is offering prayers and obeisances, Vandanam. This is included as part of Padaseva and Kirtan, but it is still considered a separate anga of Bhakti. Namaskar itself is also called Vandanam. Ekanga Namaskar and paying obeisances with 8 parts of the body, touching the ground, Astanga Namaskar, are 2 types of Namaskar. It is considered offensive to offer obeisances with only one hand touching the ground. To offer obeisances when the body is covered with cloth, that means your head and everything is covered. To offer obeisances when the body is covered with cloth. To offer obeisances behind the deity, like a thief. Like when Raghunath Das was offering obeisances to Nityananda from a distance, thinking that Nityananda is not going to see me. He wasn't coming in front of Nityananda, but he was. So Nityananda called him a thief for doing like that. So if you offer behind the deity, this is not correct. To offer prostrated obeisances with the body pointing directly towards the deity, this is an offense. Should not do like that. Or with the right side towards the deity, or to offer obeisances in the Garbha Mandir, the deity room. So we should always have our left side facing the deity. Always, every time we offer obeisances, or any time we're offering it, it always should be with the left side towards the object of worship. And never in the deity room should we offer obeisances. Performing service, Dasyam, is the 7th anga of bhakti. I am Krishna's servant. This ego or conception of the self is Dasyam, and bhajan performed with the sentiment of a servant is the topmost bhajan. the topmost bhajan. Ultimately, we want to be servants of Sri Radhika. Ultimately. Of course, servants of Guru is going to introduce us to that service to Sri Radhika. But always that service mood must be prominent. Dasyam includes offering obeisances, reciting prayers, offering all of one's activities, serving, keeping proper conduct, remembering and obeying orders. Tata Shravanam. So this chapter is laying the foundation, as I said originally, of what is Shuddha Bhakti. And it's including Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti. He's talking now about bhajan. How to put all these angas, these 9 angas can be related to bhajan simultaneously as archan. We should know that. This will be actually opened out more in the final 14 chapters, where we have to perform seva internally and kirtan, etc., shravanam internally. The 8th anga of bhakti is serving as a friend, sakyam, which includes the mood of kinship towards Krishna with the endeavors for his well-being, anukul, always wanting to do something that is favorable for Krishna. There are 2 kinds of sakyam, friendship in Vaidhi Bhakti and friendship in Raganuga Bhakti. So as I said, this is a broad chapter, this 19th chapter. It's including Vaidhi and Raganuga. More prominently Vaidhi, but Raganuga is there indicated because these angas are also applicable in Raganuga. But this is, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is walking us through the stages of what is Shuddha Bhakti initially. Sri Prahlad's shloka refers to Vaidanga Sakyam. For example, the feeling of Sakyam while serving the deity is Vaidhi Sakyam. Serving the deity, feeling that friendship, service mood is Vaidhi Sakyam. The 9th anga is known as Atma Nivedanam, which means offering the whole self, body, mind, and pure Atma to Sri Krishna. The characteristics of Atma Nivedanam are exclusive endeavor for Krishna and lack of activity for one's own self-interest. It is also characteristic of Atma Nivedanam that one lives to serve the desire of Krishna, fully Sharanagat, and keeps one's own desire subordinate to Krishna's desire. Smartavya Shatatam Vishnu, Vishmartavya Nagato Chit. We read this just in the 18th chapter. Always remembering Krishna, never forgetting Krishna. This completely, fully focused on service to the Lord. Just as a cow that has been purchased does not care for its own maintenance. In other words, we have nothing to consider in regards to our own maintenance. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana pariyapastate. Krishna, he provides what we have, he carries what we lack. It's saying very clearly there's no need to separately endeavor. If we're performing our sadhan bhajan and our consciousness are becoming daily more focused on the Lord, then to be concerned with the various material necessities of the body. We see the example of Mahaprabhu. He would just be performing his daily activities as if by rote. They were just going on. He would just, but his maintenance was all just being taken care of by Jagannath Dev and the surrounding devotees, etc. So there's no need to be overly concerned for our maintenance. This is a very important point. I'll read that last part. Just as a cow has been purchased, does not care for its own maintenance. The cow doesn't have to worry about going and getting grass, etc. Its owner will feed it. Atma Nivedanam in Vaidhi Bhakti is described in Srimad Bhagavatam 9:4:18-20 as follows. This is about Ambarish Maharaj. Ambarish Maharaj was a great devotee of the Lord, and his description of devotion is described there in that 9th canto. Savai mana Krishna padaravindayor Vichampsi Vaikunte Gunanu Varnane Karo Hare Mandira Marjana Dishu Shrutim Chakar Achutya Sat Katadya. Ambarish Maharaj engaged his mind in serving the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, his words in describing the qualities of Sri Bhagavan, his hands in cleaning Sri Hari's temple, and his ears in hearing Achyuta's blissful pastimes. All his senses fully engaged in Krishna. Mukunda Lingalaya Darshane Drisho Tad Britya Gatra Sparshe Nanga Sangamam Sangamam Grinam Cha Tat Pada Soroja Sorabay Shrimat Tulasyam Rasanam Tad Arpite. He engaged his eyes in seeing the deity of Mukunda, different temples and the holy places, all his bodily limbs in touching the bodies of Krishna's bhaktas, his nostrils in smelling the divine smell of tulsi offered to Krishna's lotus feet, and his tongue in tasting the prasad offered to Bhagavan, all his senses completely immersed in his bhakti. This is, Ambarish Maharaj is described as a Shuddha Bhakta. Prahlad Maharaj, we just discussed on the previous page, is described as a Jnani Bhakta. He worshipped the Lord in awe and veneration. Ambarish Maharaj is a Shuddha Bhakta. Ambarish Maharaj is not a Siddha Bhakta. Prahlad is a Siddha Bhakta, but he's still a Jnani Bhakta. But Ambarish is a Shuddha Bhakta, and he's not a Siddha Bhakta. He's a practicing Bhakta. So this is how he's practicing his Shuddha Bhakti in a most exemplary way. And actually Krishna bestowed the mercy of his protection with the Sudarshan Chakra. So we know the pastime when Durvasa insulted him and created that Krita demon to destroy him, then he was totally protected by the Sudarshan Chakra of Krishna. He didn't have to worry about anything. Palo Hare Chetra Padanu Sharpane Shiro Hrishikesha Pada Vinandane Kamam Chadasye Natu Karma Kamyaya Yatotama Shloka Janashraya Rati. His feet were always engaged in walking to Bhagavan's holy places, and he would pay obeisances to Sri Krishna's lotus feet. Ambarish Maharaj would offer garlands, sandal, boga, and similar paraphernalia in Krishna's service, not with the desire to enjoy himself, but to receive the love of Krishna that is present only in his Shuddha Bhaktas. Ambarish is a Shuddha Bhakta, a pure Bhakta, and he's demonstrating this very beautifully. In this pastime described in the 9th canto, we're approaching the 10th from the 9th canto. So Shukadev is demonstrating the nature of a Shuddha Bhakta here in preparation for our absorption in Krishna's childhood pastimes. When Vijay Kumar and Brajanath heard Babaji Mahashai's very sweet and blissful instructions, they were overwhelmed with joy and offered obeisances to him, saying, Prabhu, you are directly Bhagavan's personal associate. We are both blessed today by receiving your nectarian instructions. So we should always view these great elevated Vaishnavas as being directly associates of Sri Bhagavan. If we view like that, then that personality can reveal the greatest part of their wealth to us. If we have that type of full respect. Yasya Prasad, Bhagavat Prasado, Yasya Prasadam, Nagatikatopi. We're singing every day to honor the Guru, to honor the pure Vaishnavas in this way. We are both blessed today by receiving your nectarian instructions. We were wasting our days in the useless pride of caste, family, and high education. You see, only a humble person will say like that straight away. By dint of the wealth of Sukriti accumulated in many previous lifetimes, we have obtained your mercy. This is the truth. It is by the fruit of many previous activities that we have attained this opportunity to hear these truths today. Vijay, O most eminent of the Bhagavats, Sri Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur ordered me to visit the Yog Pit at Sri Mayapur. By his mercy today I took darshan of that holy place and also of a personal associate of Sri Bhagavan. If you will be so kind, I will come again tomorrow evening. When the elderly Babaji heard Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur's name, he immediately offered prostrated dandavats and said, I offer my respectful obeisances again and again to the incarnation of Vyasadeva and to Sri Chaitanya's pastimes. Since it had become quite late in the morning, remember they were in the morning because Vijay Kumar was visiting for the first time, Brajnath and Vijay Kumar then departed for Brajnath's house. So this is the end of the 19th chapter. So I'll just read through a little bit of these footnotes. I'm not going to read them all. You can read them yourself about Gajendra, etc. So my Gurudev, Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, he comments that on page 437, it's speaking the verse, Kriti Sadhya Bhavet Sadhya Bhavsa Sadhana Vida Nitya Siddhyasya Bhavasya Prakatram Kriti Satyate. This is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, from Rupa Goswami. Because this whole chapter of 19 has discussed bhakti. From the very beginning, we had the verse, this Anyabilasita Shunyam, what is Uttam Bhakti? And then we had the different stages, what is sadhan bhakti, what is bhav bhakti, and what is prema bhakti. This verse, Klesh Agni, Shubhada, Moksha, Lokuta Krit, Sadurlabha, Sandra Ananda Visheshatma, Sri Krishna Akashani Chasa. And we unpacked that verse in detail. This was in the beginning of this chapter. And then, only then, did we get to the Das Mula. So let's just read this Das Mula 9 again, because now we've got 15 minutes left of our time, but I don't really want to go into the next chapter today. I want to begin the chapter tomorrow. But now we're just going to briefly recap this 19th chapter, which I already began to recap at the beginning of this class today. So this Das Mula Tattva, one should perform bhajan of the 9 processes of Vaidhi Bhakti, namely hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers, worshipping, serving Krishna's lotus feet, acting as Krishna's servant, becoming Krishna's friend, and surrendering oneself fully to Sri Krishna. One who with faith daily practices bhajan in this way certainly achieves Krishna Rati. So it's twofold. It's Vaidhi Bhakti and it's Raganuga Bhakti. This is the platform of Shuddha Bhakti. It'll be delineated by the description in the next chapter of all the Angas of Bhakti, which is exclusively Vaidhi Bhakti. Then the 21st chapter will be exclusively Raganuga Bhakti. So now Bhaktivinoda Thakur, or Babaji, he describes what we've been discussing, these angas of bhakti. But prior to this, establishing the platform of bhakti, we had, I just said, this Anabilasita Shunyam. What is Uttam Bhakti? And then what are the 3 stages? Sadhan Bhakti, Bhav Bhakti, and Prema Bhakti. And then he discusses that actually this bhakti is beyond Varnashram. He discusses this here. This was part of our discussion, where he's saying that one should practice, that Shuddha Bhakti should be practiced in priority to the restrictions or teachings of Varnashram. So we're going through stages here, very methodically, from what is Uttam Bhakti, what are the 3 stages, and then these stages culminate in the necessity to not reject, but to not have to follow strictly the Varnashram. This was described. And then finally, it's coming to the descriptions of these 9 angas of bhakti. So this is the journey through this 19th chapter. Very ecstatic. The Abhideya. Abhideya means the means, the methodology to attain Krishna Priti, to attain Shuddha Bhakti. I hope you all, I saw many of you had appreciated that diagram we made of the Das Mula. I think it's very, very helpful to keep on refreshing that. So you can print up that. I've given different options. I'm going to print here in Calcutta some posters or some stickers also, because if we look at this regularly, it just makes it more accessible for us. And we should appreciate that Bhaktivinoda Thakur is describing this Abhideya in 3 chapters. The Shuddha Bhakti Foundation platform, which is this 19th chapter, what is pure bhakti, and what is Bhav Bhakti and Prema Bhakti, and that this is beyond Varnashram, and then a full description of the 9 angas of bhakti. And they're not exclusively being described as only applicable to Vaidhi Bhakti, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur is including these Shravanam Kirtana can also be applied into Raganuga Bhakti. But as I said, he's making the principal focus on Vaidhi Bhakti. So this is more or less this 19th chapter unpacked. And finally, we get the most beautiful description of Shuddha Bhakti that is performed by Ambarish Maharaj. This is the final culmination of this chapter. The pastimes of Ambarish Maharaj in the 9th canto are divine, so sweet. My Gurudev would regularly hear these beautiful chapters because it's really showing, demonstrating Krishna's protection from this great Mayavad, Brahmavad, Durvasa, chasing, being chased by the Sudarshan Chakra. So this pastime is very wonderful to remember. Yes, there's a verse there. And so this is the culmination of this chapter, establishing Shuddha Bhakti performed by Ambarish Maharaj. So now I'm just going to read what my Gurudev says on page 450 in the second end note. It says, Sadhan Bhakti, or the regulative discharge of devotional service, is the practice performed with the present senses, by which bhav, transcendental loving service to Krishna, is attained. This bhav exists eternally within the heart of every jiva, and it is the potentiality of sadhan bhakti to awaken it. So my Gurudev would always recite this verse straight after he had quoted the verse Anyabilasita Sunyam, is the definition of Uttam Bhakti. But what is the activities of the Uttam Bhakti? Uttam Bhakta is beginning to be described in this verse, that he realizes the potentiality of bhav within the heart is prakritam hridi sadyate, this potentiality. And we have the other verse that we say regularly also, that Nityasiddha Krishna Prem Sadhya Kabunai Shravanadi Surachita Korye Udai, that this Shuddha Bhakti is residing in potential within the heart. It can't be wakened ultimately by sadhan. It's ultimately wakened by that person who is fully realized in sadhan, bhav and prem. That is the Mahabhagavat. He can awake that potentiality within the heart. But the sadhan is going to purify the jiva in order to get the Sukriti to meet that great Vaishnava, who will wake up the sleeping jiva's dormant bhav, which is in the heart already in potential. It's saying here, Prakrityam Hridi, Hridi means heart. Prakrityam means like potentiality. And Sadyate, this is potentially within the heart. So sadhan by itself is like going to purify us to meet that Shuddha Bhakta, who will inject the Krishna Seva Vasana, the desire to serve Krishna. Krishna seva vasana means the desire for Krishna seva. And then the bhakti lata bij will sprout from the heart. The heart, so to speak, will crack in the association of the Uttam Bhakta, and the seed will emerge. That bij, that creeper will emerge. That creeper has as its support, the pillar of its support, because a creeper has to grow on something, is actually humility. And we've talked about that today also. Without that humility, the creeper cannot increase and grow. So that creeper is inspired by Sri Gurudev. Krishna, Seva, Vasana. This injection of the desire to please and serve Krishna. And gradually, this is fine-tuned. And then we've also discussed today, I forgot to say, about the Diksha mantras. The Diksha mantras are very important to support our cleansing process, so to speak. Our cleansing of our conditioned association for so many lifetimes. This can be purified very quickly through the potency of our Diksha mantras. But ultimately, the Maha Mantra is going to be the mantra that's going to carry us across the Viraja River into transcendence. So all of these thoughts we can have about the speciality of Shuddha Bhakti. It's called Abhideya Tattva. It's the start of Shuddha Bhakti. It's the platform for the next 2 chapters. So it's a very powerful, essential chapter. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the way he's systematically moving through here, especially for the calculative Western consciousnesses, then it's step by step by step by step. We came through initially what is Paramatattva, what is the Amnaya, what is the evidence for all of this. And this was established in the 13th chapter very strongly. What is the final evidence? The evidence is Srimad Bhagavatam, the evidence is the Upanishads, etc. These are the evidences that are going to be supportive of this. And then what is the nature of Krishna Tattva, of his Paramatattva, 3 tattvas about Krishna. And Krishna as Shaktiman, the possessor of Shakti. And then 3 chapters about the Jiva. Actually, this 14th chapter about Shakti Tattva is beautiful. All the chapters are incredible, that are leading to this place, a foundation of what is Shuddha Bhakti now. This is our platform to carry on into the realm of what is Vaidhi Bhakti. We'll begin this tomorrow, chapter 20, and we'll have all the various rules and regulations. This is Vaidhi Bhakti, essential to know and be familiar with this, even if we are on the path of Ragmarg, still we must be very familiar with all the rules and regulations entirely, so we don't transgress any Maryad. If we make offenses, then it can throw us back in our bhajan, if we're not aware of these rules and regulations. Many of them, if we're practicing a more focused path of bhajan, then we can neglect, not reject, we can neglect many of the principles. But we should know clearly what are all the principles. So I think I'll stop here. You can read for yourselves there's one interesting part here, one more part in the end note, very beautiful part, that Sonaka Rishi and the other rishis at Naimisharanya, I'll just read this part of the end note on page 451, down the bottom. Sonaka and the other rishis of Naimisharanya are examples of those who are inquisitive. This is talking about the 4 types of individuals who come to Krishna. So these inquisitive, jignashu persons come to Krishna. Once Sonaka and the other rishis organized a sacrificial yagyas for 1,000 years in the holy place of Naimisharanya, hoping to attain the supreme benediction. After some time, they lost all hope of attaining their desired goal by that process, but they attained perfection through the answers of Sri Sutta Goswami. the disciple of Lord Balaram and Shukadev Goswami, gave to their questions. So it's saying that they began to lose hope. Actually, in the 18th chapter of the first canto, it's described their faces became blackened by the smoke, which indicates that they weren't really accomplishing their progressive goal of understanding what is bhakti. And it didn't manifest really until they had the association. It's always the association. And the association in the Bhagavatam was initially Sutta Goswami. And he was giving them directly the association of Shukadev Goswami, because he had heard in Sukratal the Sukadev Goswami speaking to Parikshit Maharaj, so he could reiterate all of this. Now these questions, these 6 questions, I just want to read and then we'll close. So first question in the Bhagavatam, it's saying, what is the ultimate benediction for the jivas? These are powerful questions. What is the ultimate benediction for the jivas? If we don't wake up and ask these questions, how can we expect to really progress? What topic can we hear that will please the life of all souls, Paramatma Sri Hari? What are the topics to please Krishna? How can we please Krishna? What is bhakti, in other words? 3. What were the purposes that Vasudeva, Sri Krishna, desired to fulfill when he appeared from Devaki's womb? What was the purpose of his manifestation as Brajendranandan, Shamsundar, or Mathuresh Krishna? What was his purpose? And 4. What pastimes did Bhagavan Vasudeva perform in his different avatars? All of these are going to be unpacked in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And 5. Please describe the qualities of the glories of Sri Hari. Actually, all of these questions that we're hearing are adding to an understanding of what is bhakti, what is Shuddha Bhakti. Again, it's supporting this platform that we're making here in this 19th chapter of what is Shuddha Bhakti. By asking these questions, we're beginning Shuddha Bhakti. In the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, this Satyam Paramadimahi, Janmadiyasya Yata Nivyat Itaradas Kartasheshu Abhignat Saran, etc., down to Satyam Paramadimahi, the last 3 words. What is the highest truth? Satyam Parama, to be meditated on, Dimahi. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives 5 explanations, and the final explanation is Bhakti Devi herself. Bhakti Devi herself is the highest truth to be meditated on while reading this Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the highest. So Bhakti Devi herself is so applicable in this particular 19th chapter, because we're establishing what is Shuddha Bhakti, what is pure Bhakti. The final example was Ambarish Maharaj. That was the final example that Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave us. But this was the essential potency of this chapter, is establishing the platform of Shuddha Bhakti. And these questions are very applicable. So the 6th is, where did dharma take shelter when Sri Krishna returned to his own abode? So what happens after Krishna returned? What happened in the next 5,000 years that we're up to now? When Kali Maharaj advents, what will happen then in this world? So all this is revealed in the 11th and 12th chapters, which are called the Abhideya chapters. The Prayojan is the 10th canto. Oh, the 11th and 12th cantos, sorry. So I hope you can all catch the gist of that. I hope I've explained it clearly. So 19th chapter, Jaiva Dharma ki jai, Shuddha Bhakti ki jai, Ananta Kota Vaishnava Rinda ki jai, Gold Premanandi. So tomorrow we'll go to the 20th chapter, what is Vaidhi Bhakti, on the platform of what is already established as Shuddha Bhakti. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Gau Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhavebhya, Patitanam Pavanibhyo, Vaishnave Namaha. Have we ever heard such a collection of absolute truths just in one compilation? It's amazing, it's astounding. Jaiva Dharma Ki Jai, Go Premanandi, Hari Bol.